Jazz Jackrabbit is a game from the heyday of shareware. In the mid-1990s, games were often distributed with the first few levels being free. Players were encouraged to share these with their friends. Contact information for the developer was somewhere in the game, and you could send the developer a check and they would send you back the complete game in the mail. I had a few demo discs that promised ridiculous things like 5,000 games, and although I don't have those discs anymore, the Internet Archive over at archive.org has invested a great deal of time, money, and technology into archiving playable versions of many of those classic games. And while most of those games were utter garbage, once in a while something fantastic would catch your eye. Such is the case of 1994's Jazz Jackrabbit. At first glance, the 2D platformer is intended to be an edgier clone of Sonic the Hedgehog. An animal protagonist who runs really fast, isn't a natural color, and has the ability to ball up and travel quickly through colorful levels. But it won't take you long to realize that this game also stands out on its own merits. I'm not just talking about giving the main character a gun with different types of ammunition he can fire, but it turns out that it has solid mechanics. Even though most people grew up controlling this game with a keyboard, the controls are crisp. The character control, even in the air, is excellent, and the jumping is satisfying to the player. Bonus levels are in 3D and feature much larger and gorgeous sprites. Many enemies are killed in one hit, similar to Sonic the Hedgehog, which allows the player to keep an exciting pace as they work their way through a level. And the level design is beautifully complex and allows for some exploration, which, to many players, is a core part of the Sonic the Hedgehog experience. Again, although the game may use a lot of what makes Sonic great, it does so with the full understanding of why those things made Sonic a great game. I also felt like the end of the year would be a great time to feature Jazz Jackrabbit games because they did a fantastic job of incorporating their holiday spirit with the Holiday Hair episodes being made available, which featured new Christmas-themed levels, graphics, and music. Speaking of music, this game had some excellent music. I loved it when I was growing up. I thought it was definitely edgier than most soundtracks at the time, but the Holiday Hair Christmas song remixes also grow on you. The sound effects are superb. The thumping, bass-heavy explosions, the classic video game feel of a sound effect when picking up power-ups and other items, and the general number of sounds that can occur at any given time were all impressive considering the technology available when the game launched. Graphically, Jazz Jackrabbit holds up well. The sprites are fairly high quality, they feel lifelike, they have excellent animations, and they fit well in the colorful universe they're in. The holiday-themed levels in Holiday Hair 94 and 95 are eye-catching, and they didn't just replace a sprite or a texture here or there, they literally made all new levels that look great and really got your attention. In episodes 25 and 26 of Our Story So Far TV, I already addressed how the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise was able to learn a method of storytelling without dialogue, and really ended up being one of the best storytelling franchises in history, in my opinion. Does Jazz Jackrabbit emulate the same storytelling as the game it borrows from so well? To find out, I wanted to turn to the instruction manual, but I don't have one. Still, I can begin my journey at archive.org where I found the game itself again. A digital manual off of the game's disc is available, and it includes the following description of the story, which I will read aloud, while showing you the slideshow version of the story found in the game's instruction menu. Remember the tortoise and the hare? 3,000 years later, they're still at it. The notorious leader of the turtle terrorists, Devon Shell, has kidnapped the beloved rabbit princess, Eva Earlong, and has inhabited the galaxy with his looting goons. Is all hope lost for the galactic rabbits? No way! Enter Jazz Jackrabbit. The fate of planet Keratis is in the hands of one lone rabbit. It's up to you to rescue Eva Earlong and prevent Devon Shell from financing his maniacal plot of turtle domination by swiping the goods out from under his slimy beak. There's only one rule to remember while exploring: if you can't collect it, shoot it. Similar text also appears further in the instructions menu of the game, and it's interesting to see that there's a little more to it than the tortoise and the hare we thought we were getting. I mean, I'm no evolutionary biologist, and I don't quite know if 3,000 years is going to be enough time for us to get upright walking, space-traveling rabbits, but at least it's something, some sort of backstory for the action you're experiencing. While I don't know much about Jazz Jackrabbit 2, there was indeed a sequel released in 1998, and it featured Jazz's brother Spaz. You could cooperatively, in a very Sonic and Tails sort of way, play through a series of good-looking platforming levels to retrieve Eva's wedding ring. Jazz Jackrabbit 3 was cancelled, but in 2002, the game would make a comeback. Jazz Jackrabbit would be revised in the Game Boy Advance era, but the game played heavily off of a Star Wars parody theme, and not many people gave it much attention. Jazz Jackrabbit was made by Cliff Bleszinski and Epic Mega Games, the studio that would change their name to simply Epic and go on to release titles like Unreal Tournament and Gears of War. And now the famous Cliffy B would go on to found Boss Key Productions, currently developing Lawbreakers. Still, I would love to see Jazz Jackrabbit revisited by someone someday. In an era where 2D indie platformer games are doing quite well, the game wouldn't need a modern 3D open world overhaul. Just dust off whatever's in the works for Jazz Jackrabbit 3, and I'm sure fans would come right back. This was a game I wasn't sure how I would cover, but it was something that had been in the back of my mind since I started making the show, and to my surprise, actually received a comment requesting it once, a long time ago. As I celebrate my first year of making episodes online, it seemed fitting that I went with a bit of a holiday theme. And even though Jazz Jackrabbit doesn't deliver much of its story content in-game and only has a loose framework for players, similar to how Sonic the Hedgehog didn't nail down the in-game storytelling until the third installment, it does feel like a game that wasn't just trying to rip off what someone else had already done. No, despite its lack of an immersive story being told as the player plays, it still feels more like someone with a smaller budget trying to make an impression, to make a name for themselves by showing that they could put just as much care into their work as the big guys, even if they were really just starting out. I feel like Jazz Jackrabbit is a great parallel to our story so far. Hey everybody, that was episode 35 of Our Story So Far TV. My first 4 episodes launched on December 25th of 2015, after working on them during the weeks leading up to it. February and a few other occasions, I broke the every other week upload schedule to produce some great new episodes for you, and when this episode releases on December 30th of 2016, I will have done 35 episodes in just over 1 year. Although some of my videos literally still have single-digit views, I genuinely hope that someday someone is listening to this and wonders how it was possible to be so small. Still, my subscriber count, currently less than 100, is growing, and I'm still having fun making these videos, and that's what matters to me. But I could always use encouragement. Let me know you're watching, comment, subscribe, or come say hi to me on Twitter at NewAngel, Nuangel. If you found this episode somewhere other than YouTube and want to see more, the easiest way to get them is to start at ourstorysofar.tv. I'll cook something new up for you again in about 2 weeks. Until next time, take care of yourself.